guys, welcome to the Blue January Cup number 3 for iOS. My name is Peter Counterfeit Hunnell, bringing you all the action here today. We have ourselves 19 teams taking part in the competition today, and let's take a look at who it is. Elite are going to come in as our number 1 seed, Lux Clan and Los Novatos, competing to take on them in the round of 16. Zinova and Severe will be clashing themselves in round of 16. So we've got a lot of round of 16 guys and some round of 32, just because of the kind of slightly over 16 teams. Going further down the bracket, we have ANG and Divinity Gaming. Zodec Incorporated versus Montrax Crew. Soul Nation waiting for the winners of Deokia and the Cartel. Spider Dance Macon versus Mervida Loca. Mercio Lago versus Colordu. Oot and KN Glory versus, well, the winner of which will go up against Destiny Blue on the very bottom of the table. We're trying to get the first game through, which is going to be the OOT. Trying to figure out what that will be. Oot, probably not. Sounds for something. Crank. There's a reason why I sound so sleepy. It's yes. I'll let you figure out what the reason is. It's been a long day. So this will probably be a pretty chill stream, but hopefully you guys are up for that, because it's not going to be particularly intense this time around. Kind of burnt myself out on the Android, which was a long and also very intense one. Hopefully this will be a bit more relaxed. It would help if we could get into the first game, but it's... oh, there we go, it's finally up. So let's get ourselves in there. It looks like Oot are going to be over on the blue team. And KN Glory over on the red. I'll bring you guys in a second once I've got the overlays sorted out. So I don't know if you guys are at all familiar with being extremely tired, but it will make you start to sound a little drunk after a while. So I do apologise in advance if I do come across that way. I haven't touched a drop myself, but it has been a very, very long day. Let's see about bringing you guys in. Alright, I think that will be enough. Shazam! Alright, Oot over on the blue with some very familiar looking names. Not to cast aspersions, but I think we've seen these guys somewhere before. I don't know about you guys, but I think Oot bear some investigation. Let's see. What have you guys been saying? Not too much, but Crank, thank you for... Crank and Hero Gaming, thank you for sticking with me in this tough time for our great nation. So let's do some investigative work. So Oot contains Nitro, and Nitro is a member of Violence Blue and Violence Red. So I think we can fairly convincingly say that Oot are in fact basically a Violence Oot. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, admittedly, and everyone's just left the lobby, which is a well, have they left the lobby? They I think so. So we'll just have to pop back to a break screen and try and figure out what's going on, because everyone's just left the lobby. Not ideal, but we'll figure out what's going on in a second. Anyway, how's things going with you guys? Oh, Hero Gaming Simon already falling foul of our good friend Nightbot. Hopefully, you guys reconcile. Check their shoes? I don't know what you mean. Morgan Telemaid. over on the Facebook platform. What are you talking about? Krishna Vest, MT5 is dead in Android, please do something. Well, I'm not sure. I presume you don't mean in the tournament sense, because we just had a tournament of Android and it was ludicrously well attended. Over 50 teams. But if there are some technical problems you're having with Android, definitely hit up support.gameloft.com. Robin Hood, Hacksaw, I'm not sure. I think he originally was intended to be here for today's, but unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be. You've been sending way too many messages, problem. I'm not sure what you mean, Crank, I'm afraid. I don't know if I've ever sent way too many messages to fall victim to that particular problem. So I do apologize. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Is this in Modern Combat 5 or somewhere else? I'm assuming probably inside. But I've not heard of that. I would maybe get in touch. Again, I'd head over to the support portal to see what you can make of that one. Other than that, maybe get in touch with Gameloft over Twitter, because that seems like a very specific problem. Morgan Tailor-Made, I've got no idea what you're talking about. I have a feeling you might be saying something which is inappropriate. I hope that's not the case. Joseph Trammell, is there an update in the future? Almost certainly. I think you're presumably asking about a specific feature. Can you make global game? Wait, no, sorry, that's two different people. Oh, on the stream here. Oh, I see. So it's a YouTube problem. Lympho, not Gameloft support. Apparently, not a fan of Gameloft support. Crank. I haven't had to use them myself, but they seem to be well-meaning. Those will be the guys who can sort out technical issues. I'm afraid I can't myself. But if you've had a bad experience with them, I can certainly commiserate with that. But I guess we'll see how it goes. Yes, Nightbot is not a fan of too much exuberance. I have to admit, a lot of people have been talking about the whole cloning Paragon or copying Paragon accounts. I have to admit, I don't really understand what you mean. Hugs, thanks for dropping by. Please do enjoy your tasty meal as we get started with our first game of the tournament. Blue Cup number 3. Let's get into game between Oot, otherwise known as Violence, wearing a very unconvincing disguise, and KN Glory. Alright, Morgan Tailor-Made, I'm going to trust that you are not making any kind of racially insensitive jokes, because no one's ever done that on the internet before. Tisk. But yes, here we go, baby. There are babies ahoy. As Oot will be over the blue, KN Glory over on the red. Let's get things started. And I have to check actually what KN Clan definitely are much more convincing. The names on there don't look super familiar, so we'll see how well Oot does, the new guys of Violence. Not really sure why they've got a new team, but that will put them in a difficult position, because with a new team, your seeding is very, very low. So you'll end up going up against some of the better teams. But actually, it's... So how this is worked out is that Oot and KN Glory are 15th and 18th seed respectively. So they are kind of similar seeding to each other. So they kind of like, you know, in theory would be roughly equal, but then they'll have to go up against Destiny Blue. So we're going to get a round of 16 Violence versus Destiny match, which is honestly pretty crazy. Smoke 'em if you got 'em, boys. Good advice for any situation, including barbecuing. Speaking of barbecuing, Oot managing to creep themselves ahead with some well-placed shotgun and slack explosives lighting up the sky. K and Glory, though, certainly proving themselves pretty game for the challenge of taking on violence, or Oot as they are known in this one. So, a small factoid for you guys, who, if you may be interested, is that recently we saw Violence manage to take the monthly finals away from Vol 2018 by some unholy collaboration between Violence and Destiny. Sultan joining the Violence team in order to bring up their play, and it just about worked. So we have new iOS Red champions. iOS Blue finals will be coming up tomorrow, so we'll see who comes out there, if we get any other surprises. MacBeer11, MacBeer11, MacBeer11? How, man? What an excellent question. How, man? Wait, is the game out? When is the game out? Which game are you talking about? Mark Bear 1111. This game? I think it's out already, but probably you're talking about a different game if you're asking that question. I'm not sure which game it is, but maybe you can clarify. Crank, yes, that Invictus camo. The prize of the top 3 teams in the monthly finals. And what all of these teams are competing for is not just €100. There isn't really a cutesy way of saying euros, so I'm going to say dollarinos. The $100 that will be on the line for whichever team comes out ahead and comes into first place today, but also seeding for those monthly finals. So the more times you win, or at least place well, then the higher up you will be seeded in the tournament. And higher seeding means you play against the easier opponents earlier on, making you more likely to get into the finals itself. Hey, one of a Japanese fan. Nice to see ya. I'm gonna see if I can translate what your name means. I mean, it could just be a name. I think he meant heavy by weight. Weight is the game out. I don't know. I think that seems unlikely. I think it's more likely to be when than anything else. Let's see. Oh, it's Chinese. Tyne and Winchester. That's a very specific name, but cools. Thanks for dropping by. And that will be a pretty convincing Game 1 victory for Oot. No surprise given the pedigree of the players involved. I think there are a few mixes up there, but Nitro definitely going to be leading the team. 15 and 6, impressive stuff. We'll see if they can do it one more time. K and Glory certainly starting off the tournament with a very, very tough match, but we'll be heading to break and we'll be back with the game 2 as soon as it's available. Alright guys, let's see if we can crank it up for game number 2 between KN Glory and Oot. ESL Go for Modern Combat 5 coming at ya for iOS Blue Cup number 3 from January. Yes, War Games YouTube, if you don't have time to get crates, you should definitely enter the giveaways because that's very little work and you have a chance of getting 400 credit to Renos. Ever since the economy changes, the credit numbers required for crates have dropped, and so the prize will drop the similar amount, which is my understanding at least. War Games, if you are... I think I took your details already. I have passed them through directly to Game Loss, so if you are due any credits which you have not gotten, you will be looked into for. I can only offer my apologies for the fact that hasn't been addressed as of yet, but hey. That's right, Pio Arago, crank it up! That's going to be the rallying cry for this game as Oot, looking pretty good in the early going up against only 3 members of KN Glory. Going to be a tough match for them on the museum, but perhaps they can find themselves some education while they also find themselves a whole bunch of bullets to the face. Polo, I think that means chicken. And fortunately, KN finding a few more players, actually doing relatively well despite being massively down in numbers in the early going. Yes, Crank, we will definitely be the catchphrase of the day whenever the situation calls for it. We will crank it up! Ooh. Exciting stuff. What a time to be alive! KN Glory with finding a new resurgence for themselves. Keeping up relatively well with Oot. Only 2 behind, getting into a little sniper battle. Polo, the chicken, not afraid to stand up to all of Oot, but maybe there are times when it's better to be a little circumspect about these things, to maybe back down when you are grossly outnumbered, but hey, this is a chicken who doesn't know the meaning of fear. Energy, gonna be our Oot of the day. Looking for that target down the line. A big exchange of kills leaves Oot still out in Oot the lead. I'm trying to remember what Oot means in... I guess you've got a boot if you happen to be Canadian and from a particular part of Canada, I believe. Crank, feel more than free to keep that catchphrase. You can use it for yourself if you like. But until we find something better, then me and Pio Arago over on Twitch will crank it up all day long. Polo and Diari actually doing some pretty nice work. I think Polo thriving, as chickens often do, on attention. 8 and 3 so far, doing some pretty nice work. Turquoise and Nitro though, punishing, and a nice little pincer movement between Polo and their doggy companion, Puppy. 4 and 9 so far, but still able to coordinate with the rest of KN Glory pretty well. Nitro keeping up the pressure, 7 and 8 so far. Not the best of accuracies, but I guess that speaks to how many shots they've got fired. 304. That's a lot. I don't know if you guys do quick maths, but that's more than 303. Frank, you're going to use that as your name in ESL? That will be pretty fun. It would certainly make it quite entertaining to say your name, though. I'm currently campaigning to try and get the name display on Modern Combat 5 longer. You notice how in the top right hand corner, on this little name thing here, actually, to be fair, actually, a lot of the stuff is... There we go. So for Pappy, their name is longer, but it's getting a little bit cut off. As you can see, there's a lot of room on that name display there. You know, you could have a name that's twice as long as it is there and it would still not run into any issues. So I'm going to see about whether I can persuade anybody to just increase the size limit on the name there. I don't know why it was made so short, but I think we could get to see a few more bits of people's names. if I'm successful in that particular regard. We'll see. We'll see if it works out. There's a bunch of things. Also, wanted to pick you guys' brains as... I'll wait a little bit before we come to that, because this is actually getting into quite a good game. Oot are ever so slightly ahead, but K and Glory, with all 5 of their members, are managing to keep up pretty darn well against what I'm assuming a violence kind of training team, but still, you know, they are a team to be respectful of, very much so. Let's see where the kills are falling. Turquoise, no huge surprise there with the cheeky robot head. Crank, that'll cut a lot of the screen on the kills and deaths on the screen part. I'm not sure what you mean, Crank. I think we might be talking about different things. So what I'm talking about is where you've got the little information panel, which I'll just pop in and out here. This is the place I'm talking about. The name displayed at the top of that information panel is cut off a little bit. What I'm suggesting is to extend that text field in the game's programming to allow for longer names. And while I've been talking about completely irrelevant stuff, which will happen quite a lot because I am very tired, K and Glory have managed to equalize with Oot. War Games YouTube. You're in Canada. Which part? That's pretty cool. I've been to Vancouver and Calgary myself. Both very nice places. I've yet to actually come across anyone saying a boot, but I hope to one day. Alright, we will pop ourselves to a small break while we do get set up for that game number 3, so please do stay tuned, and we'll be back soon. Alright guys, let's go out for a rush. A little less conversion, a little more action. Joseph Tiramel, new content would be sweet about now. Joseph Tiramel, what kind of new content would you like? Well, Crank, as I say, the Gameloft is a big company. In fact, there's two big companies. So, well, what I say, I do my best to pass that message along. It's kind of one of those things that it's if it's been worked on already, then it kind of is. If it isn't, I don't imagine it will make too much of a difference in that way. But it's good to bring it up, because if it gets brought up a whole bunch of times, it's much more likely to be dealt with. Anywho, Omar Artis, you is a man or a girl? Well, I think I'm a guy, but you may not even be talking to me. I don't know. Hey, Vakira? DMZ Vakira? Good to see you. Good to see some Dramas fans in the building. Teamed like a boss. As the... Oh, you're talking to Vakira. Okay. Why does nobody ever ask, are you a boy or a girl? Professor Okimi. Well, maybe one day. Kay and Glory actually doing pretty well for themselves, picking up a bunch of kills and some good times had for all. Oh wow, okay, well, Oot's team didn't just got wiped out entirely. Nikki's gameplays, you are correct that the lack is love, but it's the BSW that is going to be the sticking point for Oot, who've got to go 1-on-4. Energy getting slammed, goes right for the point. I think probably the least safe place on the match. But hey. Nikki's gameplays, good to see ya. Nice to have you back. I do remember seeing you around before. And it's lovely to see you back in these parts again. I'm assuming that you are a YouTuber. Please, Nikki's Gameplays. What kind of gameplays do you put up on your YouTubes? Right now, KN Glory are doing a pretty good job of earning that piece of exclamation in their name. Oh, okay. Crank, you got 3rd or 4th place. And then the top 2 people both got disqualified and you got 1st place. Well, Joseph Tiramel, if there's something that you would like to see, definitely send in an email about it, because I'm certainly in favour of bringing some new content into the game, but if there is support from the community for the idea, it makes it so much easier to be able to push that through. So absolutely, moderncombatcommunity@gmail.com. that email address will be up on the screen in between games. Please ask specifically for what it is you're looking for, and be as persuasive as possible, because that email will get you directly through to the community manager for Gameloft, and if you can make a compelling case, they're much more likely to be listened to. So I would steer away from saying something like, I'd want to see more campaign, and then just kind of leaving it at that. If you can provide a reason and an outcome, so for instance, you could say, I'd love to see more maps because it will make me play the game more, or similar. Just stuff like that, where it's not anything particularly complicated, but just state why it is you want something. Like, for instance, we have played the same maps over and over. I'd like to have some more maps to play multiplayer on, and I would play the game more if that was the case, or something like that. Nikki's Gameplays, you upload MC5 videos in Spanish. Well, there you go. I do apologise if I have come off as ignorant by not knowing your gameplays, Nikki's Gameplays. But I'll have to try and make sure to check them out at some point. Hey, Marek Artinga. Nice to see ya. Howdy, howdy, howdy. So, Oot and KN Glory competing for the spot heading up. Polo, our good chicken buddy, is the last person standing for Glory. It's €100 for the winning team for this cup. I'm just going to double check that I've got that correct, but I believe so. Yep, and also 100 Go4 points. You may say, what are Go4 points? We don't talk about them that often. They are the points that allow you to get into the monthly finals, where you can win up to €350, a €500 prize pool in total, and those tasty Invictus camos that you can't get anywhere else. By taking part in a lot of ESL tournaments, you can get more and more Go4 points, which will increase your seeding and give you a better chance of making it further in the monthly finals themselves. Oh, Marek, I am glad to be relatively okay at pronouncing your name. Could use more spectator camera. Interesting. I'm not sure what you mean, Marek. Could you expand on that? Would you say, are you kind of indicating you'd like me to move the camera around a bit more? Which I can certainly do. Superness, Supremeness. Are they only using snipers? The answer to that is probably yes. Because snipers are all the rage at the moment. I'm certainly not an expert on high level Modern Combat 5 by any means. I mean, I've seen a lot of it, but I don't necessarily understand what is... Oh, Marikatinga, if you want to look at the rules for a tournament, you can. There are a bunch of restrictions in place, so it's definitely worth being familiar with those before you join in. Oh, sorry about that, Crank. Don't want to give you Invictus envy. It is a common condition. KN Glory, looking pretty reasonable for their chances of advancing to face off against our number 2 team, who will be Destiny's blue team, who are marked down as Japanese, which I'm pretty sure is not true. Okay, yes, Marikatinga, definitely. I have thought about that. I think a free roaming camera could be an interesting idea. Oh, okay, well I don't know why that came through that way, but Marek, I think that ESL link should work, let me know if it doesn't. Yes, well you can, I don't think I can actually do it from here, but, ooh, hello, let's get the respawn. There are set cameras, but there's no free roaming camera. I do agree it would be pretty neat. Though it would take quite a lot more work as far as the camera goes. There are set cameras, so we can jump across, though. As you can see, we can sort of look around from this and see the last fight going on along the point. It's not, it seems, something which I've done myself, as we see KN Glory secure the win there. Is you kind of need a dedicated observer to be able to really make use of that, but congratulations to KN Glory knocking out Oot, who are the nearest incarnation of violence. I think they're training team, so that's a pretty big scalp for KN Glory, but they now have to go up against our number 2 seed, Destiny Blue. So hey, should be a very interesting night for them. Let's see, so I'm just going to pass it across to Soldier Girl, who's running things for today. I mean, I don't know, Nikki's, Marek, if you like me to mess around with the camera a bit more, I certainly can try doing that. I don't know how well that will work, but I mean, I can try doing it a little bit more. It looks very funny. Marek, I'd say on the PC platform, I think a free roaming camera is a lot more practical because you've got, you know, the whole mouse and keyboard to fly around. I think it's a lot tougher to do on iOS or on Android. I think that'll be maybe. I'm trying to think. I think there could be ways of doing it where to maybe have like a camera on rails showing certain parts, which might be a bit more practical than just having a completely free roaming camera, because I think that would be really hard to control on Android or iOS. On PC it's quite doable. It's funny to see players hop around like crazy. Nikki's Gameplays Hero Gaming Assign was here before, and they came back again. All over the place. Honestly. There really is no helping them. Yes, Marikatinga, you can quote me on that. Madness, he says, while gibbering into his hands. What? Yes, I think on mobile, there probably is. I mean, the kind of thing I maybe think is semi-practical will be to have, like, say, maybe a third-person view, which you can rotate around, but it still fixes the person. But the big problem with having a outside camera is that you end up going through walls quite a lot unless they put a lot of work into it. So I just don't know if that's really going to be a priority for Gameloft, because it's not a very big payoff. I was honestly quite surprised that they were willing to take my suggestions for how to change the spectator UI, because that looks like they took some work. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I might try and bring up the. Do you guys have any particular other first-person shooter games in mind that you that do this and it works well? Because I think if I had an example of a game that does this already, it would be a lot easier of a sell. Omar Artiz, we will do a unranked game if we do not have. Ourselves anything to do in the next couple of minutes, but we will be popping to a break to make sure my voice doesn't give out during the duration of this. But once more, congratulations to KN Glory. We will take a break for about 7 minutes. When we come back, we'll either have a custom game or the next tournament game. So please do stay tuned, and we'll be back soon. Alright guys, while we wait for our next tournament game, why not come and join me on Vantage for a free-for-all? Maybe to keep you guys from arguing in the chat on YouTube as to who's better at Modern Combat 5, which seems like the most inane argument possible. Why don't we prove it by going into this free-for-all, and whoever wins can just be agreed to be the best at Modern Combat 5, and everyone can shut up about it. I can't say it's so strange to see people arguing about who's better at Modern Combat 5. Surely you can just look at each other's profiles and that will tell you. Also, they're also very confused as to why people care that much, because I assume we're all here because we enjoy the game. Never mind. ESL123 will be the passkey as always. Mr. Sniffles, what a great name. But yes, let's see if we can solve all of this shenanigans the old traditional way, by shooting at each other, the way that a lot of problems are solved. My vote is that Mr. Sniffles is going to win by virtue of having the best name. So I think I can successfully resolve the argument in favour of them, even if they weren't planning on taking part. Let's get this game started, because I think we're about to get our next tournament match, and need to get you off and going before that gets too far underway. That will be Kanglory versus Destiny Blue. Nikki's gameplay: be proud of who you are and stop using other people's words. Interesting. That seems very meaningful, Nikki's gameplay. I'm not really actually sure what you're talking about specifically, but please, guys, quit arguing in the chat. There is literally nothing to be gained by getting mad and yelling at each other and saying that you're better than the other person. Because honestly, it doesn't make any difference at all. But I will time out people who are picking fights with other members of the chat, because that's not... We didn't come to this virtual battlefield to have a fight. No, we came to watch a fight. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Alright, Parker MC5 iOS, cool your jets over on YouTube. Quit picking fights with old Crankaroony. We know that Crank, having that "crank it up" catchphrase named after them, is going to win the popularity contest with me. So, finish him. Babality. Friendship. Crank, don't you start getting into this whole waving contest. Omar, you're born in the USA, but your parents are from Cuba. Interesting. That's right, John Cusack. People getting timed out. The most heinous of punishments available to me. Don't test me, because I'm the best at Modern Combat 5, or at least I'm the best at moderating the channel, and that's the only thing that really matters. It's a little hard to tell when people are kind of comedy flaming each other and actually flaming each other when it comes to the chat, but I get the impression that my words of peace slash just yelling at people are getting through. But John Cusack, thank you for being the voice of reason in a world gone mad. We have got the passkey for our next game, so we will be jumping to that. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of that particular game. We will be back in a couple of minutes with that game between KN Glory and Destiny Blue, so please do stay tuned for that. And we'll be back in a few minutes. Turn the microphone back on. How embarrassing. Well, nonetheless, we are back in things. I got a little distracted by talking back to the chat, and now I realize you guys couldn't even hear me in the chat either. Whew. Anywho, back into things. KN Glory, surprising everyone, I think, by taking out the Violence feeder team Oat. We'll see if they can do it again. By taking on our number 2 seed, Destiny Blue. Thank you, Soldier Girl, for being the first person to let me know that my microphone was turned off. So that's interesting. We've actually lost most of our players here. So I don't know what that's about, but they are still fighting. It's 2v1. This is something I'm more expecting over time when it's elimination style, but hey. Oh, hello, we've been kicked out. Well, that's interesting. Don't know quite what happened there, but I guess we'll just have to try and come back with another game. Don't know quite what happened there. I think that game itself may have been dropping players. Alright, well, we'll pop ourselves to a quick break, try and figure out what's going on. If worst case scenario, we'll come back with game 2 of KN Glory versus Destiny Blue. Otherwise, I guess we'll just try and find one of the many other games that should be going on at the moment. We have got Elite and Severe in the quarterfinals playing, so there should be pretty good stuff knocking around. So apologies for that, and we'll be back with another game one way or another in hopefully just a few minutes. Okay, well, this is a little bit of a odd situation. It looks like everyone's having problems with getting into the client at all, which is definitely going to make a bit of a difference as far as our ability to actually bring you a tournament today. We might as well get our Twitch giveaway completed either way around it. So our Twitch giveaway winner will be Joseph Trammell. Joseph Trammell, if you could post your dog tag and platform. I'll spam that out a couple of times to make sure you see it if you're not currently on there. So it sounds like everybody's having the same problem. I'm going to try reloading my client a couple of times just in case. It might just be a hiccup. But if not, then then I'm not too sure what we can actually do about that. But let me just get our giveaway stuff in place. And make sure that's all kosher. John Cusack, you think things are coming back to life? Let's see. Trying to log in again. AD plays, you upload MC5 videos in there. Awesome. Well, that's just your opinion, man. But hey, why not? Why not indeed? Alright, it doesn't look like we're having very much luck here as far as the whole loading the game thing goes. I don't know if any of you guys are having any better experiences. Joseph Tiramal, did you come back on Twitch? Give you a little bit of time. But yes, that does make life a little bit tricky. John Cusack, it's okay guys, PC still working with MC5. Well, that, I guess it's better than it not working. I do remember a long time ago it happening that it wasn't the case. Joseph Tiramal, hopefully Nicky's gameplays, you would like the credits instead. Well, you make a compelling case. But yes, it does look like it's RIP Modern Combat 5. Let me just try and load up one more time. But I don't seem to be getting very far with this. Alright, well, that might put the kibosh on the whole thing, I'm afraid. This doesn't happen very often. I do remember it happening one time before, and we tried to do a trivia contest, which just didn't get very far, admittedly. But, alright, well, I think that might mean that we'll have to cut it short this evening. Apologies to you guys who came out to watch. Max Freitas, I don't think it's a bug. I think it's a server issue, and unfortunately, now is a pretty bad time for it to happen because there's nobody awake to do anything about it. For Boss Gaming, I think this may well be the end. Oh yes, Joseph T. Rammel, yes, you can't get online to check your dog tag because the game isn't working. Alright, well, Joseph T. Rammel, I've written down your that you were the Twitch winner, Joseph T. Rammel, so you will still get that. But we've kind of got the same issue for everybody. Okay, well, I'm afraid that's gonna probably be it for us this evening if we can't get the game started. I'll try one last time. and just see. But yes, this means no tournament games and nothing really to show you guys, unfortunately. That really sucks. But hey, MC5 to Hacksaw, you've arrived just to witness the end of the stream, because unfortunately we don't have any working game to show you. So I can only apologise once again. We will be back tomorrow with 2 tournaments, which will be the Blue January Cup the Red January Cup number 3 at 4 o'clock UK time, and the Blue December Finals at 2200 hours UK time. You can go to ESL play.esl gaming. Actually, I'll just throw up the link here and see all of the upcoming tournaments. So again, apologies, not because I have any control over whether or not the server is up, but because I appreciate you guys coming out and supporting the stream, and unfortunately this time around it hasn't worked out very well. But either way around it, my name is Peter Counterfeit Hartnell. I will be back tomorrow, assuming that we get well, I'm certain we will get some work done on servers between now and then. I think just game loss engineers are going to be asleep right now, so apologies for that. But we will be back tomorrow with our last 2 tournaments of the weekend. Apologies are all I can offer you, I'm afraid, but I hope you'll understand and you'll come back tomorrow for more Modern Combat 5 action. For now, I've been Peter Counterfeit Hartnell, and we'll see you soon.